Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Rabaa Baisa. Welcome again to another time of storytelling. Today I have the story of Prophet Lut, and I will try to summarize it for you. Okay, so the story starts about telling us about Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, how he was expecting a guest or a group of guests. They came over to his house, and he wanted to treat his guests very well and offer them whatever he has at the house to make them feel also welcome. So what he did, he went and got a big calf and slaughtered it and cooked it very well. It was delicious. So he made a feast for his guests, and he brought all kind of fruit. So it was very nice and delicious. It looked very delicious. And he invited his guests, but his guests did not want to eat. They just turned away and sat on the side. They didn't want to eat. So Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam felt sad. He wanted to know why his guests didn't want to eat. So he went and asked them. They told him that they were angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them in the shape of men to go to him and tell him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish because his people did not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were wicked. They did wicked stuff. And that's the consequence of their bad doing.
Audio Jungle.
So Prophet Ibrahim felt sad because he knew his people did not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he tried with them, and they were mean to him. They used to torture him, and they plotted against him so many times. So at this point, we shift to talk a little bit about Prophet Lut. Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Lut were living in the same area. When everybody was plotting against Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he decided to leave his people, his village, and move to somewhere else. So Prophet Lut wanted to go with him and support him and just be with him. So he left. So Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam felt sad for the people because he said, but Lut is with them, he's among them. So the angel said, we know that. And because Prophet Ibrahim was sad because of this news, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped him to overcome his sadness, and he gave him glad tidings that he will give him a pious son at this older age.
Audio Jungle.
Prophet Lut was Prophet Ibrahim's nephew. He lived with him in the same area. But what happened when Prophet Ibrahim's people hated him to the point where they wanted to burn him, because he was a good believer. He always invited the people to believe in Allah and leave the idols. They didn't like his preaching, so they wanted to get rid of him. They decided to burn him, and this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him from the fire. So Prophet Ibrahim escaped from the city or the village, and Prophet Lut went with him to help him and support him. So they moved out of the village. On the way out, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to send Lut to the people of Sodom to start preaching for them and invite them to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and educate them and give them information more about Allah and how helpful He is and all the blessing that He bestows on people and the protection. So Lut was to go to the people of Sodom. Prophet Ibrahim told Lut this. He told him that you have to go now and help those people. So this is where they separated. So it started with the Prophet Lut. He moved to that village and started a family. He had 2 daughters. His daughters were good believers. They helped him out. They helped him out with a lot of things throughout his journey and his message. And what happened? The Prophet Lut alayhi salam tried and tried and tried with his people, but nothing worked. What his people used to do, they were very wicked. They were bad. They, although they lived a simple life, they just farmed the land to provide food for themselves.
Audio Jungle.
The village itself, it was like a passageway where travelers will go through the village to get to other places. And travelers will have goods on them, they'll have material, and they'll have money, anything that, materialistic stuff. So what the people of Sodom would do, they would stop any travelers and take their money and everything they have and sometimes kill them. They have this has became a habit, a custom that they would do. Every time they have a travelers passes by the city, they would rob them and sometimes kill them or kill their wives. And because this has become a habit, it became to a point where if they don't do it, they feel something is missing, so they have to do it. They deviated from the right path. So the right path is this, and they kind of gone away from the right path and away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They've gone so bad, so far that they can't even see the right path and differentiate between the bad and the good. These people reach this point where they're far away from the nature, the pure nature of human. They adapted the evil act, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everybody with pure soul. This is the first, the human nature. But what happens when you get older, people who tend to listen more to the whisper of shaitan, this it overwhelms them, and it kind of sucks them into this other life where they only follow the path of shaitan. So whatever shaitan whispers in their head, bad thoughts, they would just do it, and they feel good about it. They don't feel guilty. So this is what happened.
Audio Jungle.
With these people, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to punish them. But before punish them, of course, He wanted to send a prophet to them to give them one last chance. So Prophet Lut, living among them, he was the only good person in this whole village. The whole village was like that. They were bad people. They were wicked. They rob, they kill. They don't care. They don't follow on rules, so they don't care. And they don't fear Allah. They don't fear anybody that's going to tell them this is wrong and this is bad, or if you do this, you're going to get punished, or we're going to take you to prison, or, do bad things to you. They're not scared of anything, and that's why they carried on doing all these bad things. What happened, they even destroyed their family relationships. They didn't take care of their families. They just went on satisfying whatever they feel like, entertaining themselves, and just living their life with no rules whatsoever. So at this point, they didn't like Prophet Lut among them because he was the only good one, and he was always telling them, don't do this, this is wrong, and he's always reminding them of their bad acts and deeds. So they decided to plot against him and just throw him out of the village. They want to kick him out, and they don't want him to come back ever again. The angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala visited Lut one time.
Audio Jungle.
And going back, I want to tell you a little bit about the daughters of Prophet Lut. His daughters were very pious, and they believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did all the good stuff. They worshipped Allah, and they did everything for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they were 100% with their dad. But their mother, the wife of Prophet Lut, was an unbeliever. One day, after all this bad thing that happened, after Prophet Lut preaching to his people and inviting them to do the good acts and worship Allah and leave the idols and leave all the bad things, the wickedness, the bad life of robbery and everything that's bad. So, of course, they didn't want to say that. Like we said before, they wanted to kick him out of the village. One day, before the day they decided to kick him out, a stranger came. Now, this stranger, there's a story about him, but I will tell you about it next time, so you stay tuned. And for now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.